Thank you, everybody, and welcome to Salapalooza. I wish I could take credit for that, but my chairman, Mark Rombacher, said that earlier this week, and I thought it's pretty fitting, without a doubt. So let's start with, we've got a senior at Littleton High School who, Mia Clements, is going to sing our national anthem. So if we can all raise to the national anthem, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Outstanding. Thank you. Okay, that is a tough act to follow, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So I'd like to just make some introductions quickly. First, starting with, I would like to introduce and say hello to introduce everyone, Congresswoman Lori Trahan, State Representative James Arciero, Senator Jamie Eldridge, Secretary of Housing and Livable Communities, Ed Augustus. Former Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. Chairman Mark Rombacher of the Littleton Select Board. Vice Chairwoman Karen Morrison from the Littleton Select Board. Matthew Nordhaus from the Littleton Select Board. Chuck DeCoste from the Littleton Select Board. Also like to take a minute to recognize who we also have here is Massachusetts State Auditor Diana DeZoglio. Thank you. From Senator Markey's office, we have Liam Horstman. From Senator Warren's office, Jonathan Creek. Representative Margaret Scarsdale. Former Mayor of Lawrence, Michael Sullivan. And Assistant Secretary for Community and Programs, Juan Vega. Our first speaker today, she served as our Attorney General from 2015 to 2023, currently serving as the Commonwealth's 73rd governor. Under Governor Healey's leadership, Massachusetts is ranked the top state in the nation for education, healthcare, and innovation. Massachusetts has also been named Best State to Live, the Safest State, and the Best State to have a baby, and the best state to raise a family. In her first year in office, she cut taxes for the first time in 20 years, putting money back in the pockets of workers, businesses, seniors, and families. That includes establishing the most generous universal tax credit in the country. To address the high cost of housing, Governor Healy filed and signed the largest housing investment in state history, the $5 billion Affordable Homes Act, which makes building new homes and rehabilitating existing homes easier, lowers costs, and helps more people become homeowners. Governor Healy has also made education better, from childcare to K-12 schools, to career and technical education, to no-cost community colleges, and affordable four-year college. She signed the most pro-veterans legislation in the country and proposed a historic plan to upgrade roads, bridges, and public transportation across the state. Ladies and gentlemen, your Governor Healy.
Thanks, Jim. Sorry, I have to do this every time. Thanks, Jim. I want to thank you for all that you do. Members of the Select Board, the Planning Department, everybody in the town of Littleton who worked hard to see this day come to fruition. This is really, really exciting stuff, and I am so thrilled to be able to be here today to celebrate this with all of you. I want to recognize my friend and our great partner in DC, Congresswoman Lori Trahan, who nobody does it better in terms of representing not just her state, not just her district, but her state. And she's a force and a great friend. I appreciate that. I also want to recognize Auditor DiZoglio, who's here today. We also have Senator Eldridge and Representative Arciero. I appreciate the work that you do in the legislature to support and fund the very many things that we're able to talk about today. I want to celebrate also somebody who is here and very special to us. That is the Lieutenant Governor, Karen Polito. And I want the LG to stand, actually. This might be her first public appearance. Right? This is the afterlife, but she is always invested in the well-being of our state, all 351 cities and towns, and I want to thank her for all she did over the course of 8 years in the Baker-Polito administration. One of the grants that we're going to celebrate today came about from her administration and helped get this off the ground. And in terms of continuity of leadership, we were able to come forward with another grant that helped Sal move things even further, down the field at that point. But I just want to say thank you for coming out today. It's wonderful, wonderful to see you and to have you here. To folks on our team, Secretary Ed Augustus, this guy's one charge is build housing. Build housing all over the state, Ed, every day. And we have a little tally going of the units that we're bringing online. He does this working in partnership with others in the administration, including from our Economic Development Secretariat, Juan Vega, who is here today. Juan, we thank you as well. And huge thanks to Sal, to Mary, to the entire team at Lipoli Companies. Sal is a force and a force of nature. You know what I'm really excited about? My team's giving me a salad, for the road when I get to my next thing. But no, I'm having pizza. I'm so psyched about that. Yeah, thank you. I also just want to shout out the men and women who serve us every single day in communities around this great state. Members of the Littleton Police Department, members of the Littleton Fire Department, thank you always for everything that you do. Thank you. Okay, so in no time, where you're sitting is going to be transformed. This is going to be a village. It's going to be unbelievable. Sal's going to talk all about it. But I think there's like a pool that's right over here, beautiful townhouses. It's going to be amazing. 550 King Street is a hugely important project for Massachusetts. And I think it's really important, not just for the town of Littleton and the area, but it's really important for our state because it shows what's possible. It shows what's possible. And it turns out you can have kick-ass economic development, you can bring in more housing, you can create more vibrancy, and all of our residents are going to do well by it. And that's why I love being here today. It doesn't matter if it's raining, because this is so, so important. And I think about, where's Joe from Precision? He's going to be one of the tenants right below in the retail space, making, little cameras for endoscopy. It's going to be happening right here, or right actually over there, I think. But this combination of housing and entrepreneurship and retail and manufacturing, and all of this happening right here in this place that, by the way, is not too far from a commuter rail station. So imagine the traffic. People are going to be able to get in and out of town. It's going to be great. So it's also important in this moment because it represents the very best of public-private partnership, okay? Government doesn't have all the answers, God knows. But we are there to support, and we are there to work alongside those who want to make the investments of the nature that Sal and the Poli companies and all the developers and architects and construction companies, everybody who's on this, is making. I said a while back that we needed to build 220,000 homes statewide, and we are after it every single day. 1,100 units are going to come online just because of this project alone. And also with that, we're going to have 40 affordable homes for our seniors, which is so important, meeting a deep need in our state. We're also going to have 115,000 square feet of grocery, restaurant, and retail space that will create added jobs and vibrancy. And finally, we're going to have a 150-room hotel just down the way because there are so many people who are going to be coming to Massachusetts. You know, you heard at the outset, we're #1 in the country for innovation. We're #1 for education. We're the hub of life sciences and so much more. And you see people come from all over the country to check out what we're doing. And so it'll be really nice to have that hotel here for investors and others to come stay at and enjoy, as well as all the relatives and friends who are going to visit the people who are going to live in this amazing village that we have here in Littleton. I mentioned at the outset something about government, why government matters. It was through a MassWorks grant that we were able to help move this along. $4 million we gave last year for the Littleton Sewer Project. Not sexy, but you don't have anything if you don't have sewer. You got to have sewer. So that was I don't know what you did, Karen, but you guys did the initial opening. It was great, right? I get the sewer, but you know, but you need both. And that's, you know, that was the vision behind this Affordable Homes Act that we put out, and thank you for the legislature for all your work. I want to thank, in particular, Rep. Arciero, because of your leadership on housing, you know, and everything that you've helped us do and think about in terms of ways we can incent more communities bringing things online. And we thank Senator Eldridge for your vote, too, in support of that important piece of legislation. It's a wonderful, wonderful region, wonderful place to live, to work, to play. People come from all over, and Massachusetts is a great state. We want Massachusetts to be affordable. We want Massachusetts to be a place where you can grow up and afford to stay and raise a family, where if you're a business, you can look to expand and attract more talent, and this is exactly the kind of project that we need. It's an example for the whole state, and I'm just so grateful to Sal and to Mary and the team for the work they've done to bring us to this day, and we're going to work. My first question was, how quickly can you get this built? We're going to do everything that we can to support the work that's happening and will happen over the coming weeks, months, and years on this wonderful site. Thank you very much. I wanted to give a very important shout out to Tyler and Jason. How about the DJs?
Thank you, Governor. What a great turnout. This is a great day for Littleton. I am so proud to be the town's town administrator, and thank you very, very much, Select Board, so very much for the opportunity. But a great day on a fall day like this. It's kind of like a football day. Speaking of football, didn't we just hear some news over the weekend that Sal's son, Sal, has got a tryout with the Patriots on Sunday? That's outstanding, outstanding. So a few shout-outs. Elaine Sandelman from the Lowell School Committee, Tim Goddard, our town moderator, Diane Quarry, our town clerk, Joe Knox, previous Select Board member, Commissioner of Littleton Electric Light and Water Department, and two individuals from the Planning Board who were very, very instrumental in progressing this project over the years, Darrell Barker and Bartlett Harvey. Thank you very much. Okay. Since 2019, Congresswoman Lori Trahan has represented Massachusetts' 3rd Congressional District, which includes her hometown of Lowell, the Merrimack Valley, North Central Massachusetts, and Neshoba Valley. In Washington, she currently serves on the Committee on Energy and Commerce, the Democratic Steering and Policy Committee, and is Deputy Whip and co-chair of the Democratic Policy and Communications Committee. In her time in Congress, Lori has been a strong advocate for access to housing and health care, as well as infrastructure and R&D. So this project is in the heart of her district and right up her alley. Please welcome Congresswoman Trahan.
Well, thank you, Jim. I have to do this every time. It's so great to be in Littleton, especially because my next stop is Washington. So thank you for coming out here this morning. It is no secret that our state and our country are facing a housing crisis. And when it seems like every time you refresh your phone, there's maybe more bad news coming out of Washington or the state of our country or our economy, I cannot express how exciting it is to be here to celebrate such a momentous win for our community. To Sal, to Mary, Mike, the whole team at the Lipoli Companies, congratulations and thank you. I know that everyone here has played a vital role in making today possible, but it's your vision, it's your dedication, your perseverance to this project that has brought all of us here today. I want to thank Governor Healy, Secretary Augustus, for joining me in the 3rd District once again. It has been great to celebrate the hundreds of new housing that have been planned. I was just with both of them in downtown Fitchburg last week, and now we get to celebrate 1,000 more housing units right here in Littleton. I also have to thank Senator Eldridge and Representative Arcero. Your leadership and your partnership on Beacon Hill are delivering transformative changes across our state and certainly across the 3rd District. I'm grateful to call you both colleagues and friends. Now, I know that Nick Lawler is not here today, but I have to thank him and Jim and all the folks at the town and the Littleton Electric, Light, and Water departments who took on the enormous sewer expansion project that is making this development possible. And I have a feeling that the governor and I are going to make sewerage sexy again, because you don't have projects like this without first laying the groundwork. I know that sewer treatment plants and collection systems aren't always the most exciting things to highlight, but Sal and Jim know that infrastructure is the key to unlocking economic development projects like this one. I couldn't be more proud that $13 million in federal funding are supporting this critical infrastructure project. That's $2 million in local ARPA that the town approved, $8 million in state ARPA, which Senator Eldridge and Representative Arcero secured in the governor's economic development bond bill, and $3 million in federal loan forgiveness from the state's Clean Water Trust. I wanted to give that breakdown just to show how collaborative and effective the partners on this stage have been. It truly takes a whole of government approach, working hand in glove at the federal, state, and local levels to deliver public funds necessary to match such an incredible private investment to make a project like this a reality. When it's finished, King Street Commons, right off of 495, right across from the Point, 10 minutes from the commuter rail station, and just up the road from Kimball Farms, will be a destination. Now, I know that the families living here and the folks working here are going to thrive, because bold, forward-looking developments like this are how we keep Massachusetts competitive, and there's no one who has been more committed to making our state the most competitive than the Healy-Driscoll administration. This is what progress looks like: public and private sectors working together to deliver tangible benefits for communities like Littleton. Let King Street Commons serve as a model for how we tackle the housing crisis with vision, coordination, and investment. And let today serve as a reminder that when we work together there's nothing that we can't accomplish for the people of Massachusetts. Thank you so much.
Okay. Just a little bit, just a little bit. A couple more shout-outs right now. What I'd like to do is I would like to recognize former president of the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce, Joe Bevilacqua Sr. Hello, Joe. And current president of the Neshoba Valley Chamber of Commerce, Melissa Federhoff. The current president of the Merrimack Valley Chamber of Commerce, Michael Bevilacqua. And a little more local, we've got James Kennedy, who's the president of the Littleton Business Association. Okay. Senator Eldridge served in the House of Representatives from 2003 to 2009. He currently has served in the state senator for Middlesex and Worcester District since 2009. Currently the Senate chair of the Joint Committee on Revenue, Senate Vice Chair of the Joint Committee on Judiciary and State Admin and Regulatory Oversight, and the Senate Chair of the Clean Energy, Criminal Justice Reform, and Medicare for All caucuses. So without any further ado, I welcome Senator Eldridge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim, and I am so excited to be here. This is an incredible turnout. I said to Secretary Augustus, we just came from Acton Housing Authority groundbreaking where we were both in mud-filled land getting our shoes dirty. This is a Sal Lopoli production. So the DJ, the flat screen TVs, the pizza, so a little different from our experience earlier. But I'm honored to be here, and I want to first just say I'm so honored to be here with Governor Healy, with Congresswoman Lori Trahan. I know Auditor DeZoglia was here, former Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, and it's particularly apt for former Lieutenant Governor Polito and Governor Healy to be here because you see the progress of the Mass Works program, you see the progress of the focus on housing really coming to fruition here in Littleton. I could not be more proud of the work that Littleton has done to come up with this vision. And I think it's important to emphasize is that before the MBTA Communities Act had passed as law, there was a vision put here first by Sal Lopoli and the Lopoli companies, supported by the Littleton Planning Board, the Littleton Select Board, Town Administrator Jim Duggan, to come forward with a plan in a town that really also respects and cherishes its open space. And I think that's something I really appreciate about Littleton is that it's a very welcoming town. It has hundreds of acres of open space. It's known for still having its rural character. But you have developments here, whether the Point or now 550 King Street, that are really going to transform the Littleton Common. That would not happen without the investments, some of which had already been mentioned today, but are really important to highlight, is first of all the work by the Healy Driscoll administration for Mass Works support to make sure the infrastructure was made possible to lead to the creation of 550 King Street. Congresswoman Trahan highlighted the federal money, including ARPA dollars, that went to Littleton Electric Light Water Department to help build the water infrastructure that you can see just down the street. And then I want to give a special thank you and appreciation to my great friend and colleague, Representative Jim Marciero. It was mentioned earlier, but Jim served as the House Chair of the Joint Committee on Housing and shepherded through, partnering with Secretary Augustus, the Affordable Housing Bond Bill to make sure that we can build housing and affordable housing in every community in Massachusetts. And then Jim took one step further, working with Lieutenant Governor Polito and Governor Baker to secure a $10 million fund in the economic development law to make this project possible. Jim, I want to give you a special thank you for your leadership on that. And I can't thank enough the work and the vision of Sal Lopoli to come up with this vision of a mixed residential and commercial, about 880 units here, We're hoping to believe about 250 units just across the street, and I know there's discussion in Littleton about how to build more deeply affordable housing for senior citizens as well, which I fully support. Sal, thank you so much for your vision. I know this started around 2021, 2022. Really appreciate your vision to make this possible and partnering so strongly with both local, state, and federal government. So thank you to the Littleton residents for all your support for this. Not every small town is committed to a project like this. Could not be prouder of your support throughout the different levels of this project, and I'm honored to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Couple shout outs. I'd like to recognize the chairman on the Parks and Recreation and Community Education, Saul Marini. I'd also like to recognize the superintendent of Littleton Public Schools, Kelly Clenchy. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Doctor. Thank you. Wow, I'm not going to live that one down, am I? No. Speaking of people I work with, but the employees and the staff and for the town of Littleton are really exceptional. They really are exceptional, and I hope they understand how much I appreciate them, and the select board appreciates them tremendously. But I'd like to point out a couple people that have worked really tremendously on this project, and we have the Assistant Town Administrator Ryan Ferreira. And our town planner, Maren Tuhill. Okay, thank you. Representative Arciero. The representative has served in the House of Representatives for 16 years since 2009. He's the current House Chair of Joint Committee on Transportation, former House Chair on the Joint Committee on Housing. That's going from drinking from one fire hose to another, without a doubt. But I would like to introduce Representative Chairman, Representative Arciero, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm incredibly proud to be here today to celebrate the groundbreaking of 550 King Street with all of you. I'm Jim Arciero, and I serve as a state representative for the 2nd Middlesex District. Together with Congressman Lori Trahan, State Senator Jamie Eldridge, I'm honored to represent the town of Littleton. I want to begin by thanking Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll and her administration for leading the charge to expand accessible and affordable housing across the Commonwealth. Thank you to Sal Lapoli for your leap of faith to invest in this project and your vision and perseverance through uncertain times and certainly an unstable economy. This public and private partnership here in Littleton is a real-life example of the Affordable Homes Act we passed this last summer, the largest investment in housing in the history of the Commonwealth. Thank you as well to Housing Secretary Ed Augustus for your steady partnership and guidance. When I was chair of the Joint Committee on Housing, I valued your collaboration, and I continue to do so on behalf of the district and the state that I represent. To Littleton Select Board and Town Administrator Jim Duggan, thank you for your leadership in bringing us to this important milestone. We stand today on the former IBM campus, once home to the largest software lab in North America. Not long ago, this Route 110 corridor from Littleton to Chelmsford attracted major employers like Puma, Red Hat, IBM, Kronos, to say a few. While other regions of the Commonwealth were struggling to stay afloat during the subprime mortgage crisis, we were hosting ribbon cuttings for new office parks and attracting high-tech growth here in Littleton. Then came 2020, and the pandemic changed everything. How we work and where we work shifted dramatically. The reliance on traditional office space diminished, and the nature of the workforce and the workplace evolved. At the same time, our housing crisis deepened. That's why I want to give sincere kudos to Sal Lipoli, the town of Littleton, and my state colleagues who had the vision and courage to think differently. Together, we've transformed this 41-acre site from an empty office park into a vibrant, mixed-use development, one that includes multifamily housing with affordable units, retail, restaurants, offices, and even manufacturing space for Littleton residents. This project is a textbook example of leveraging the exact policy tools we created to empower communities to build the housing that they need. Tools like the commercial conversion tax credit and the sustainable green housing initiatives. And thanks to the $1 million grant from the Housing Works Infrastructure Program and the $8 million earmark for the sewer infrastructure improvements that Senator Eldridge and I were able to acquire, and with Congresswoman Trahan's support, we're making this vision a reality. So when I say that I'm proud to be here today, I truly mean it. This development represents everything we envisioned when we talked about public and private partnerships, commercial conversions, and strategically using the Affordable Homes Act toolbox. Thank you, Littleton. Thank you to the governor. Thank you to Sal Lipoli for his vision and your support in this project, but more importantly, for your leadership. You are truly a shining star in the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up, we have representing the Select Board. We've got Chairman Mark Rambacher. Mark was on the Library Board of Trustees for 16 years, which was instrumental in the efforts to build a new library, beautiful new library right there. He's been on the Select Board for 3 years. This most recent year as chairman. He has supported building our new senior center, which is called the Center on Shattuck Street, which the town will celebrate with a grand opening on May 16th. We can just move the party down there, right, Sal? All right. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Chairman Rambacher.
Thank you all for coming out on this momentous day for Littleton. It's great to see everyone here. I was a little disappointed, Sal. I expected you to order better weather for today, but I'm guessing after you speak, we're going to go out and there's going to be a huge rainbow. So, when IBM relocated from this site, it left a huge void. It's a large footprint waiting for its next purpose. The Select Board searched for the right partner with a vision, someone who saw beyond the vacant buildings and the immense parking lots. Someone who recognized the potential for a vibrant, thriving community that Littleton could be proud of. That search led us to Sal Lipoli and the Lipoli companies. Sal painted a picture of a village, a dynamic district of workforce and community housing blended with a vibrant commercial and retail space. A vision that transforms the acres of asphalt into a place where people will live, work, connect, and belong. Today, as we break ground, we take the first tangible steps towards making that vision a reality. This development will bring essential, much-needed housing to Littleton, where our dedicated teachers, our valued first responders, and our young adults can afford to live. A welcoming neighborhood for people to call home. This type of development is what the Commonwealth envisioned when the MBTA Communities Act passed, creating a sustainable, accessible, and vibrant place to live. A project of this magnitude doesn't happen in isolation. The partnership forged between the town of Littleton, Lipoli companies, and the Commonwealth have been truly exemplifies what we can achieve when the public-private sectors align their goals and work hand in hand for a common good. Critical support and grants from the state were instrumental in overcoming the challenges bringing us to this milestone today. We know there's still much work ahead, but this groundbreaking proves what is possible when we pool our resources, our expertise, and our shared determination. On behalf of the entire Select Board, I want to extend our deepest gratitude To Governor Healy and our administration, thank you for recognizing the importance of this project and for the Commonwealth's vital partnership and support. To Senator Eldridge and Representative Arciero, thank you for your tireless advocacy for Littleton's needs. To Sal Lapoli and the team at Lapoli Companies, thank you for your bold vision and your collaborative spirit. To our town staff and volunteer boards and committees, thank you for your diligence and foresight as we navigate the complexities of this project. And finally, thank you to the residents of Littleton for your engagement, your input, and your patience through this journey. We will have the streets repaired one of these days. Today, we celebrate more than just the turning of the soil. We celebrate collaboration, progress, and a dynamic future for Littleton. I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish when we all work together. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, we're almost home. Wow. Sal, everyone's done a great job highlighting their support behind the project, making sure it's going to be a complete success going forward. I think it's safe to say, Sal, we're probably going to have you pretty busy here over the next coming years. So there's really no need for you to travel to the Granite State or to the other L community up the street in 495. Mayor Sullivan, I'm not referring to Lawrence. How do we get to today? 2018, the town was notified that IBM was not going to renew the lease. And within 2 years, the buildings were vacant. In 2019, the owners of 550 King Street marketed the property. The town was approached by 5 separate developers, independent. Distribution center, distribution center, distribution center, distribution center, visionary. That was the beginning, what is a generational partnership between the Commonwealth, the Lapoli Companies, the town of Littleton, and Littleton Electric Light and Water Department. Yes, generational, because within the Lapoli Companies, it doesn't end with Sal. His daughter Mary and son Sal will shepherd our partnership for years to come. As the conversations grew between the town and Sal, the vision grew. Our previous speakers highlighted through the collaborative efforts of the federal and state delegation, Baker Polito administration, and the town, the millions were committed. And the Healy and Driscoll administration have embraced the continued generous support through various grants. An important note to highlight, the infrastructure that's necessary for a project this size provided the Select Board with the ability to invest in commercial and residential properties on Great Road, King Street, and the Littleton Common. But it also gave the Select Board the starting point to explore future infrastructure investments in our community. September 2021, as a gesture in good faith, Sal closed on 550 King Street before an October 2021 town meeting, which had 2 proposed warrant articles. One, to rezone this site King Street Common District, and 2, approve up to $28 million in funding for town sewer. As many of you know, anticipated support for town meeting articles can change in a matter of hours. A clear demonstration by Sal for his commitment to this community. June of '22, Planning Board approved the initial redevelopment application for 550 King Street. December of '22, Planning Board approved 410 Great Road redevelopment of 285 units, right across the street. In February '23, Sal closed on that purchase. In September of '23, Sal purchased the Yangtze River Restaurant, which was over your right shoulder, right over there, which has since been raised. June of '24, the Planning Board approved the updated redevelopment plans, which include 700,000 square feet of commercial space, and combining the IBM, Yangtze, and 410 Great Road. Total number of housing units is 1,089. As I conclude my remarks, the King Street Common provides the town with 4 essential quality of life impacts on Littleton. The expansion of our commercial revenue tax base, job creation in the form of construction, part-time and full-time career opportunities, new infrastructure that offers property owners the ability to connect, and housing that's not only going to be affordable component of the total number of units, but the much-needed, deeply affordable senior housing. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, Salvatore Lupoli.
So first of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I always start these wonderful opportunities with thanking my mother and my father, my brother James, and my entire family that's here. My brother Michael's here, as well as my daughter Mary, and Sal Jr.'s dialed in, focused. He's probably in the gym right now getting ready for this weekend with the Patriots. So I just want to thank my entire family. I'd also like to thank the entire organization. You know, too many times, Governor, you know, that people look and they maybe see the trucks or the retail stores, and they think, you know, it's all about that name, Sal. It really isn't, Governor. You know, we have over 1,000 employees in our organization, and it's those employees, whether it's development, management, retail, hospitality, manufacturing, it's those employees that every day make this whole machine work. I just happen to be lucky to have those three letters, and people have the ability to give me all the credit, but it really is my employees. It's the people in the office that are crunching those numbers. It's people like my son-in-law, Michael, who's just joined the organization and very passionately diving through every aspect of the business. It's the people that are taking care of the real estate, the people are making sure the systems are online. And there's a whole different part of the organization that is here today representing Sal Lupoli and his family. It's the hospitality brand. When you see this wonderful brand out there today and all of the young entrepreneurs that we were able to help and partner with over the years, it's been really breathtaking for me. You know, I'm a local guy. I was born in East Boston. I was born at 91 Chelsea Street, a few doors down from Santapios. Maybe it was the pizza every day, Governor, that kind of gave me the desire to go into that business. But really, pizza was a vehicle into the development world. How do you create an operating entity and parlay that into real estate? That was the primary focus while I attended Northeastern University and blessed to get my MBA at MIT. I kind of honed those skills there of how do you create an operating business and do real estate. Well, I learned something very quickly, Governor. When I asked my father for advice, who I lost my father in 2003 at a very young age, 61 years old. At the edge of his bed, I can remember talking to him, and I can remember him saying, that's good, you want to be a developer, but you need something called equity, and we have none of that. So I said, okay, Dad, how do you do this? And so he said, well, why don't you write a business plan? Why don't you look at an operating entity and try to put the operating entity into the real estate? Now I'm going to tell you this. Real estate development, it's tough stuff. It'll knock you down, it'll beat you up, it'll wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I call them the gremlins that wake you up and say, oh my God, did I make the right decision? I just mortgaged where my children sleep, I mortgaged all my businesses. How can I make this work? There are opportunities out there. It's called private equity. When private equity comes to the table and they bring a whole bunch of money and wonderful things happen, and that's super important. But what about that small entrepreneur that has dreams about being a developer? How do they get started? I'll tell you how they get started, by becoming the part of the fabric of a community. And that's what this is all about. This is just a wonderful example of what happens when you become part of the fabric of the community. And I'm not just talking about, you know, doing a program and you build a beautiful building or you create a beautiful vision and you walk away. I'm talking about like Lawrence, Massachusetts. We went over there and we started with one building. Today we have over 50 acres. There are 5,000 people that work there today. 200 companies are there today. Over $500 million in investment. And we're still there. Like, if you want to find our company, Lupoli, just go right to Lawrence, Massachusetts and knock on that door. And there's a good chance my daughter or my son or my son-in-law, my brother will answer that door. I think that's really a big deal. You see, when you're a developer in the state of Massachusetts, or you're a developer during these economic times and you're using your own money, like the money that is going to be invested into this facility and this wonderful dream, please believe me, it came from the hospitality business. It came from the food manufacturing business. It came from tremendous lenders that believed in me. I know Doug McLean's here in the audience from Berkshire, Jim Mont from Northern Bank that originally started with this program. It's those investors and those bankers and those people that look at a project like this And they don't bet on the project, they bet on the better. Never bet the project, bet the person that's doing the project. And I think, the testament is the people in this town. When you can talk about the federal government, and you can talk about the state government, and then you can talk about the local government, and then you add that with the right developers, magic happens. And people look at that development, they say, oh, what great vision. No. The vision came when it started with the federal government looking to support the sewer system. And then it went to this administration and the previous administration. Karen Polito and Charlie Baker's administration behind me started this project. And look at the kind of governor that we have. A governor that came up here and recognized, one of the first things she said is, I want to recognize Karen Polito because she started it, and look what this present governor is doing. This present governor believes in bringing everything together. She doesn't care if it's a D or an R. Does it create jobs? Does it create housing? Is it good for the state of Massachusetts? Then we're in. And so when you bring all that together, and then you bring in local government, look what this says about to everyone, to the other 350 cities and towns in Massachusetts, that Littleton, Massachusetts, population 10,000 or less, took the bold step and became the leader in the state of what can be. So many communities in the state of Massachusetts, that's why our governor has this tireless effort of creating more housing and trying to convince communities. And, Secretary Augustus is trying to convince these other communities that, you know what, we're not going to wreck your schools. We're not going to create a problem in your community. We just want to put people in homes. We just want to create jobs. It's this governor that recognized this. This administration recognized it. And that's the secret sauce that gives developers the courage. It's really, really hard. People look at development and they say, why haven't certain developers started already? And it's because, take a look at inflation. Take a look at how much it costs to borrow money today. Take a look at the rising cost of some of these expenses in construction. And then all of a sudden you add in some challenges, right? You add in some tariffs now. And I just believe that there will always be an issue that you have to overcome. But are you strong enough? Are you bold enough as a family, as an organization, in order to stand shoulder to shoulder with the federal government, the state government, and local government? Can all of the people make some beautiful music, create a beautiful pizza, no pun intended, right? And so on behalf of my family, on behalf of the future of the family, which is Mary and my son Sal Jr. and Michael, her fiance, and my brother's children that are now entered the organization, all we want to do is tell you, we're going to be here for a long time. We might stumble a little bit, but if we do, we're just hoping that you can continue to pick us up, brush us off, and push us back in the game. Because I'll tell you what you have with the Lipoli family, the Lipoli companies. You have a dedication, you have a relentlessness, you have a leader that is ferociously loyal to his employees, and a passion to bring housing and economic development and create those jobs. My father said something, and I'll leave this thought with you. And it's a really good example. People think that in the state of Massachusetts or in the United States today that maybe lab or medical space is gone in Massachusetts. It's really not. It's really the small entrepreneur, which is the backbone of this entire country, will never die. They are relentless. And you know what my father taught me? He said, Sal, stop looking for dollar bills on the ground. Start picking up quarters. And that's what this company does really well. We pick up quarters. And what do I mean by that? In this building here today, and there's several members in the audience, there's Hyper Global, Jim is here, Joe Forkey from Precision has just signed a lease to come in here. These are small entrepreneurs that do some great things. And you know something, the last time I looked, when you take 4 quarters, it equals $1. So all these other big developers that are out there, or all these other big real estate companies, or all these other big brokers that are out there that are looking for the 2 and the 300,000 square foot big whale, why don't you concentrate on the small entrepreneur that takes 25,000 square feet and help him or her grow their business? They'll create local jobs. It'll be good for local economy. And once again, on behalf of my family, on behalf of my daughter, on behalf of my son Sal, on behalf of my entire organization, on behalf of my mother and father, who I look up every day into the skies and I wish they were right next to me, but all the advice, all the success I have is due to my mother and father, my brother James, who I lost unexpectedly when he was 44 years old to leukemia. Those are the people that make me run to work every single day. Those are the people that I will tirelessly support. I will fight. I will give you my last breath. I will be on that wall every step until my team, my family has reached where they need to reach. And I just want to give you my word, Governor, I will never let you down. I will do whatever it takes. This organization will do whatever it takes. And I'm grateful and I'm truly humbled by the town of Littleton to show the leadership, to show every other city and town in the state of Massachusetts that you don't have to have a population of 1 million people to do big, bold, audacious things. The town of Littleton has set that course, and we would not be here without the selectmen, local government of the town of Littleton. We're humbled and we're grateful as a family. So with that, thank you, Governor. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.